Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Babylon Business Bootcamp. My name is Tom Dolan, CEO for the Babylon IDA and your host for the Babylon Business Bootcamp webinars. Today is the final installment of our Zoom webinar series, and we'll be going over some of the programs the IDA has created in response to the COVID-19. And that was a big reason why we got this going. In this webinar, we'll be having two special guests. First, Matthew McDonough. Matt is a director of the Babylon is Back program. And Matt, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Tom.
It's great to see you. As I do see you more, right? So can you just explain to the audience a little bit as far as the IDA's role that we play here in the business community, and branching off a little bit as far as some of the things that we've undertaken as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Sure. So the Industrial Development Agency has been around for more than 40 years now, and it's an integral part of, commerce in the northern part of the town of Babylon. So areas that are true industrial, the old industrial parks that came post-World War II, maybe some in the 70s when the old airports like Zons and Deer Park were converted into these planned industrial parks. So the IDA is tasked with making sure those areas have low vacancy rates, that they bring in jobs, and that they reinvest in that old industrial stock. So our mission is to make sure that the tax base is sound and that there aren't empty buildings, and that owners, based on those empty buildings, can grieve their taxes to bring them down even less. So we're a business support, we're an economic development, we're a community development, we're a workforce and housing development agency. And the three financial incentives we would give to a business who is moving into the town of Babylon are a pilot payment in lieu of taxes. It's a real estate tax incentive that reduces their property taxes, but they need to guarantee certain job growth, job retention, and investment into that property. So the second half of that goes in with the investment into the property is a 2-year sales tax letter. So if they're buying racking, if they're buying, building material for their facade, if they need to add to the building because they need to expand, that sales tax letter would come into full effect. And then the final thing is a mortgage recording tax exemption. We don't exempt the entire mortgage tax recording, but if someone used mortgage financing to either acquire or expand, that portion of the recording tax would be exempted. So those are the three financial incentives we offer companies. Because we're a town agency, we also walk them through the planning process. So when they have to expand that warehouse, we cut the red tape and make sure that that warehouse is built here in the town of Babylon and not somewhere else. The other incentives that come along with being an IDA client have to do with power. In the Northeast, Long Island has historically been the most expensive for utilities, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But when we're competing against other localities throughout the country who are going to offer not just cheap power, but free power, free rent. I mean, there's even a joke that in the Amazon H2 search, a town was going to rename itself Amazon. So we can't compete with that, but we're going to give a reason for a business owner to stay or come here to Long Island. And we are really the only economic development tool in coordination with the utilities and some with the state incentives that come out for job growth, to help companies move here, to help companies stay here. And that employment is real, right? Because although we give somebody a tax break here, the employee is now a productive member of the society. He's going to be able to pay his mortgage, his own property taxes. And there's also just the dignity that comes with work. So we want to make sure that Babylon's employment is high, that the taxes stay stable, and that we are a place that industry looks to when it wants to move or expand. That being said, the supervisor of the town of Babylon, Rich Schaefer, the town board, Deputy Supervisor Tony Martinez, Councilman Gregory, Councilman Mineta, and Councilman McSweeney, along with the chambers of commerce throughout the town and the village mayors and their boards, Mayor Scordino in Babylon, Mayor Lavarada in Lindenhurst, and Mayor Siri in Amityville, came to the IDA and knew that because of the shutdowns related to the novel coronavirus, we had to have an economic development response to that. And the IDA was tasked with that effort. It was supposed to lead that effort. And that's where we came up with the Babylon is Back initiative.
Excellent. And I know it's been a great partnership throughout with the IDA, the town, and like you said, the downtowns and some of the villages, as well as some of the chambers and local civics. Can you tell us just a little bit more? In other words, so that was a big undertaking, and we were very involved in that. But can you tell us a little bit more about the program and how you kind of laid it out? And we had a starting point, and hopefully we had to work through some things to get to where we are today. So maybe you could just kind of share with us a little bit as far as the vision that you had in the beginning of this process.
Yeah, I mean, like you're saying, Tom, this thing doesn't happen on its own, right? It's a lot of people working at peak pitch together to get this done. And our partners in the chambers of commerce, in the villages, in the town government, and as well as the IDA staff pitched in quickly, came up with a group of ideas that is under the banner of Babylon is Back, and started going directly to businesses to help them as they started to reopen. So initially, after the closure because of COVID, there was going to be a phased-in opening, and different businesses and industries fit into different phases. But there were state requirements that businesses weren't aware of that you needed to open, and that was an educational campaign, and that's what we did. You and other members of the staff went door to door in a contactless way, gave out signs that talked about this business is open. We're going to be following social distancing. We're going to be following mask requirements. We're going to be, making sure employees wash their hands. But that was a requirement the state put out. We needed to make sure businesses knew about it. We also needed to make sure that they signed the required letter to the state that was on the state's website that said that you had read all the state guidelines, understood them, and were going to implement them. So, if you get pulled over by a cop, I think it was, I didn't see the stop sign, officer. Well, this is the government asking you to sign that you did see it and that you did read it and that you were going to do it. So we made sure that that was something they had done, that they had come up with the safety plan the state required, that they posted the safety plan. And we did other things to help them keep up with the PPE requirements and things like that. So the first was an information campaign, getting on the radio waves, getting on social media, going door to door, calling all the businesses, industrial and retail. So both downtown Babylon and East Farmingdale's industrial buildings. And we came up with the PPE reimbursement and PPE stopgap program, so that if you ordered from Amazon or any of the other people selling personal protective equipment, so that was gloves, hand sanitizer, or masks, we would reimburse you for $250 of that purchase. But if it was a supply chain issue or some other issue where you weren't going to get it in the time where you needed to reopen, we had the stopgap. So the IDA went out and purchased PPE itself and would hand those out to businesses that had a week or two lag time between when the delivery would be made. One of the other things we announced, and it's open to all businesses now, the state and its requirements for barbershops and even for restaurants required waiters and barbers and hairdressers to wear face shields. We had gotten a donation of face shields from L3 Harris, which is a IDA client, as well as the Dario, traditional industrial clients. One makes guitar picks and strings and drum heads. The other is a defense contractor. But they kicked into high gear. They took their corporate citizenship seriously, and they created PPE throughout the pandemic. The excess of that, they donated to the IDA to distribute to all the town's businesses for free. So those are the face shields that we distributed to barbers, but now we open to everybody. And you can take a look at that. We helped streamline the outdoor permit process. So one of the things about COVID is that diners can eat outside. And a lot of people always thought, I wish we could eat out on the sidewalk. And well, this was the opportunity. They did reduce the total amount of people you could have inside and outside, of course, but it was a little bit of a lifeline that as time gets colder, we're also talking about enclosing those areas, getting them heaters so that businesses can still operate in that way. We want to match what is successful in what's working for businesses. So the outdoor permit process was streamlined. We worked with the towns and the villages. We hired Savick and Murray, an engineering company, who went with wheels and did Google Map searches of, can this business put a table here, a table there? Not that they have to go out and measure with a 6-foot tape, that is their personal distance enough when people need to walk down the streets. I think one of the things during COVID is people reestablished an exercise routine because they were going stir crazy in their house on Zoom meetings like this, or whatever the work from home requirement was, and maybe the kids were there too. So people started biking again. They started walking in the downtowns, and that was an outlet. We don't want businesses that were coming back to be a hindrance to that and sort of get some negative headlines. And that was really another thing we did in the communication thing. The way you communicate to your clients about how safe and how you're going to protect them is another hurdle that you need to overcome as a business. So people understand that when they come to your shop, when they come to your restaurant, they're going to be safe, that you take their safety seriously. So, before COVID ever happened, right, we talked about the slow death of retail, unfortunately, because either big box stores or Amazon. So whether someone has a chance to leave the house or make a purchase online, you have to deal with that. Now there's an additional hurdle that you don't have with the online purchase, which is they're walking out into an area that they may get sick or they may become contagious. And although they may not feel any symptoms, they may spread it to someone they love, whether they have old or, at-risk patients in their house. So that was, part of that information campaign and something we keep hitting on. And that's why we created the digital presence rebate program. It's a $100 reimbursement. It's for photos. It's for buying a camera. It's for anything you need to do to increase your web presence. People are more and more online. They're more and more using their phone. And how you communicate through those mediums is going to directly correlate to how you do business. We don't know if there'll be shutdowns in the future. We don't know if when this pandemic ends, there might be another one. But communicating to people and creating an online presence and having e-commerce or delivery services is going to be one of the lifelines your businesses can take advantage of. The other hard money assistance that we did was an emergency assistance program. It's called the Babylon is Back Emergency Assistance Program. It's a hybrid grant and loan program run through the IDA. You can loan up to $25,000 from the IDA, interest-free over a 1-year term. You need to have less than 51 employees, have been established before the governor signed the initial order shutting things down, and that COVID has caused some type of issue. If you've received PPP or EIDL loans, it doesn't matter. You can still apply for this program. And the $10,000 grant is for PPE and other types of investments. So it has to be a COVID-related investment if you're putting in a filter into the AC unit or something of that nature. That program is available to you. There's also the Fraternal and Civic Association program called the FCAP. Those are fraternal and civic organizations can apply. Again, that's another grant program that's available to those types of organizations. We also set aside $2.5 million in New York forward loan program with MDC. And if you have not received a PPP or EIDL loan, up to $100,000 in loan funding from the New York Loan Forward program is available to you. And that is because you are a Babylon business. We gave part of the at-risk capital for that so that program would be available to those who necessarily didn't get in the first or second rounds of PPP or an EIDL loan. So the 3 financial loan programs, 2 of them are run out of the IDA, that you don't have to have, you could or don't need to have received a PPP. The other one run by the NDC with IDA at-risk capital money, the $2.5 million total $100,000 grant loans are run through the NDC, and there's a separate portal for that. And then finally, what we're in right now is the Babylon Business Boot Camps that we've done over the last few months that talked about different things that businesses have been dealing with that they've told us about. So part of that canvassing effort was informing people of what's going on, but it was a great way to hear what people were having issues with. We heard them. There were different types of advocacy we did with the state, with the federal government. We called the governor, we called the state and local officials and the federal officials and let them know what businesses were going through, as well as wrote letters and did whatever we could to apply political pressure to get more funding out to targeted businesses. So one of the things we heard is, well, I'm dealing with X or I'm dealing with Y. I don't know exactly what to do. So the IDA came together. It created a series of these boot camp events that talked about what businesses can do and got experts to talk about what those issues are and how you can deal with them. So it's been a very robust program, and a lot of businesses have applied and benefited from a lot of the loans and grants we discussed. And it's been, a continuation. It's not going away just yet. So we need to stay vigilant. We need to stay proactive. And if businesses have feedback, they should share it with us, because that's the only way we can move forward. We don't know exactly what's going on with your particular business or your particular situation, but if you inform us of it and let us sort of, work through it, we can definitely maybe provide some type of solution.
So Matt, that's a big part of this too. So some of these things, they can go to the website, right, which is babylonisback.com. For the program, some of the programs you talked about, as far as the hybrid, the grant loan program, there's an application with that, and that's available on the website. And that's still correct. Those are still programs available today, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So stay informed, stay connected. www.babylonisback.com. Babylonisback.com. You will find what the programs we have here that we just discussed, and also an opportunity to see that there's still state and federal information available. So we've also, coalesced all the information from the different other agencies, and you should explore those too. And we can help work through that with you. So take a look at the website.
Okay, Matt, and just the last couple of things, what would you say to a business owner now struggling? I think some people, they may have been in an okay spot. You talk about restaurants, the weather's changing. What would you say to a business now as far as the challenges and with the COVID-19 pandemic?
If you haven't taken advantage of the programs that we've set out here, visit the website, apply for them. It doesn't cost any money for the application, except for one. They're all online forms that you can fill off on your phone or your laptop. It's pretty quick. And then give us a call, and maybe we can direct you to federal and state help as well. But the other thing is, look at your expenses. Have you applied for forbearances? There have been changes in the commercial lease rules. The state wants landlords to negotiate in good faith with you and keep your tenancy. So some of the things are looking at your bills and seeing what you can push off to another day to give yourself a little bit of breathing room. It's programs like what the town is offering. It's programs like the state and the federal government is offering. If you've taken a shot at PPP or EIDL and weren't awarded, call us. We'll connect you with the different centers, and maybe we can help you get what you should have gotten in the first place. So I think those are the things I'd be looking at right now.
Excellent. And again, there is a tremendous amount of resources here available to them, and it is important that they do contact us. Again, let's just reiterate, Matt, I want to thank you. This goes back in these conversations, I know with you, we started this back it all started in March, but
right.
We were planning, and you did such a great job really directing us and directing this program, and Babylon is back, and thank you so much for the work that you've done.
Thanks, Tom.
And again, maybe we could just share again, maybe just want to mention where they can call us and contact us if they need any help.
So if you visit babylonisback.com, that's where all these programs are listed out. There's a little blurb that explains the program, and there's a link to the online form to apply for it. We'll reach out to you once we've received it and connect to get you the check that you need. The second half is if you call 631-587-3679. That's 631-587-3679. If you have whether it's about these programs, if you are having difficulties or you have issues or problems, let us know. We can, work through getting you the help you need. And maybe we can talk about, strategies about how to overcome them.
Excellent. Again, Matt, thank you so much. Thanks for your time today. Again, Matt McDonough, Director for the Babylon is Back initiative that is still going on. And Matt, thanks so much for being here with the boot camp. And we're going to move forward because we know you have another meeting to get to. Again, thanks so much for being here today. We also have with us our next guest is a familiar face. She was part of the boot camp series, Erica Chase, the director of the Farmingdale Small Business Development Center. And want to welcome you back, Erica. Thanks for being here today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Tom. I really appreciate it. And to wrap your amazing program around, come full circle and just kind of reiterate where they can find some help and answer some last questions from you.
Excellent. Well, first of all, we want to thank you and the advisors from the Small Business Development Center for all the hard work. This program would not have been possible without the partnership and your getting involved and really doing such a great job in responding to what the business community needed. So that's the first thing. We want to say thank you so much for that.
It's been our pleasure.
And for some of those businesses who might have missed what the Farmingdale Small Business Development Center does, maybe you could just explain to us a little bit in more detail as far as the types of resources that you offer and what you're doing today to help the business community.
Sure. So just to give a little background, we are funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration, the SBA. We are a resource partner for the SBA. We are also funded by New York State. So our services to the community are all free. We started serving startup and existing businesses back in 1985. We are located at Farmingdale State College. Since March, we have been working remotely. So people can connect with us through a Zoom meeting, phone, email, text, any way that they need to be served. We're here for them. The SBDC helps businesses with their business plans, any startup questions. We are getting a lot of interest in starting new businesses, which is a great sign. We help small business owners with government procurement. So if they want to add the government agencies as a customer, we can help them through that process and how to get connected with agencies to sell to them. We help with the MWBE certification, which is helpful to participate in government procurement and in marketing your business. New product development. If someone has a new product, we can help them through that whole maze of how to get that product out to market. Cost analysis, which is really important right now, right? So people are thinking, is this product, is what I'm selling really making a return on my investment of time and energy? Certainly we can help with loan information and any applications they may be applying for through banks. We can help them put together their loan application. If they want to export their products, we can help them in that arena for exporting or even importing products for them to sell. Marketing plans, and of course, disaster assistance. So we've been helping clients since 1985 and nothing has changed today for those kinds of services we offer.
That's excellent. And again, what a great resource the Small Business Development Center is. We went through, again in March, I know we go back to one of the first webinars that we were on together way back when, and there's been so many different things that have happened since March. But what do you see today as some of the challenges the businesses are still facing as a result of the pandemic?
Well, I think the government regulations kind of put a working foundation for them to move through, which has been difficult because restaurants, obviously, they can't have as many indoor seats there and the spacing that's needed. So the staffing needs really changed for the small businesses. Cash is king. Obviously, when they're not selling as much, they're cash poor. So cash flow analysis we've been helping customers with because they're cash poor, if you will. Customer retention, certainly there was this fear of shopping and are they open and when should we be going? Amazon took a lot of the wind out of local business, right? So certainly customer retention and that communication Matt spoke about. And I think the IDA has done an amazing job with the town's businesses at getting information out there and helping with their communication plans and, grants that are available to help them with their social media to get people to know you can still buy from me. I can deliver, I can curbside pickup and all of that. So that's really important. Cost of doing business, certainly we're hearing about the PPE issues, the cleaning, keeping up with that, again, going back to the regulation, and just meeting their expenses. And Matt touched on that also. And again, I commend the IDA for every aspect of the business community hardship you've thought about, you've gotten information out, you've connected with us so we can partner and get information out. But really the business is trying to meet their expenses to stay afloat is still an issue.
Sure. Now, with some of the challenges, I think sometimes there are opportunities. There have been opportunities, I guess, for some businesses, depending on what sector of the marketplace they're in. But also sometimes, it's almost like a bone, right? You break a bone, but when it comes back together, it's stronger than it was prior to. So hopefully the business community, do you see people starting to plan, do more disaster planning and things like that?
We have, I think they're bracing for the winter. If this second wave hits us hard, they're much more prepared. Certainly the businesses we're working with are very cognizant and have been working on their marketing plans and reaching their customers and keeping their customer informed of what they have to offer. Restaurants I'm concerned about because of the winter months, but they'll get through it. Business owners are so resilient. They're probably the most resilient people I've ever met, small business owners. We saw it after Hurricane Sandy, and here we're living it again.
Sure. And again, and I'm assuming that the small business development, we have a library of videos on the Babylon Business Bootcamp, again, thanks to you and your advisors. And the role that you would like to play moving forward, I know you went through a list of some of the things that you offer, and I'm assuming it's really those things and making sure that businesses know that you're there and that they can reach out to you.
Yeah, so, webinars and trainings are great for an overview, but the SBDC works one-on-one with the business. So the business can come to us in a confidential manner. Anything that they share with their business advisor is personal and confidential between that relationship. And that's really important when times are really tough because they may be sharing some things that they've been doing just to stay in business. And if sometimes they don't want to share those things, but they're really important to share. And again, I can't stress that this is a confidential partnership between your business advisor and the business owner. But right now, it's really important for the business owner to sit one-on-one or to have that conversation about their financial projections, their cash flow analysis, their specific marketing plans. And we can help you through those things and create budgets with you and for you so you can work through the next couple of months or the next year if we have to. And also, we've been helping a lot of business owners think through, are they going to sell now? And how do they position themselves to sell? What does that look like for them? And we have experts that can work through those kinds of questions and what ifs, or maybe I want to, or a new business wanting to get into the market and buying a business, and what kind of negotiations and conversations that will take place and kind of working through that. So we want to be part of the solution on transitioning someone out who wants to get out and putting somebody back in. So we have a robust business community, just like what the IDA wants. And again, I can't stress enough that just like Matt said, it's really important for small business owners not only to connect with resources like ours, but to communicate their needs to the IDA or other folks in the town, because you're local. You can't get much more local. I'll use a News 12 slogan, right? As local gets. But you want it to keep going. So you're going to bring all the resources available that you can. And if you don't have it, then you know what the problem is and you can go get it for your community, our community. So really important. And the other thing I just want to touch upon is we talked about marketing and the grant, the $100 that was available through the IDA for a camera or to get them online. New York State came out with a digital initiative, and my staff is being trained right now on the platforms like Etsy, Square, Shopify. So we then can help small businesses enter into that space in more of a robust way than they may have in the past. So again, those programs are going to be rolling out and training, and again, one-on-one to help those folks get onto those online shopping sites.
Gotcha. And again, that's why I think it's so important that people stay connected, because the things will continue to change. Different programs, I think, will be continued to roll out, and we'll be here, right? We'll be helpful. Your contact information, maybe if you just want to share your information, again, with everyone, I think it's important. Again, the Farmingdale Small Business Development Center, and I'll let you just kind of give your last little commercial.
Sure. So the best and fastest way to reach us is through email. It's sbdc@farmingdale.edu. No one typically waits more than a 24-hour period to get connected to a business advisor. So that's really important. So again, it's SBDC, as in Small Business Development Center, SBDC@farmingdale.edu. And Maria will email you back and set you up with a business advisor. If for some reason you don't have an email, which you probably should, but if you don't and you want to call us, we're still monitoring the phone. It's 934-420-2765.
Okay. So Erica, again, I want to thank you. I want to thank your advisors. I want to thank you from the very beginning, your input. And again, this would not have been possible without your input. And, we have three goals here. We have three words that are part of our logo. It's partnering, investing, and creating. And again, I look at this partnership and the investment you made and the creation of the opportunities that you gave a lot of the businesses in the community. So thank you again for everything. And we look forward to continuing the relationship and maybe doing some additional things down the road. So thank you so much. And I want to remind everybody again, as said earlier, BabylonIsBack.com or BabylonIDA.org, townofBabylonIDA.org. You can go there. Again, we're here as a resource for you and your business. So thank you. And please go to the website. There is, again, a library of videos that you can, business planning. And I think you kicked us off with business planning. But there's so many things that you can take away from the library of videos. And please, again, stay in touch with us. So again, thank you. Thank you, Erica. And we hope to see you again in the future. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.